Welcome to my YouTube channel, Yasmeen Simplifies. In this video, we are going to study about class 8 chapter Control and Coordination. This video is really useful for both CBSE and ICSE students, especially senior students. So coming back to the topic, let's understand what is the meaning of control and coordination. First of all, let's see what do these mean of control. Control means regulating an organism's function, means doing something which controls the action and the reaction. For example, hormonal control for growth. We can control the growth hormones by certain supplements, by certain exercises. Now let's know what is the meaning of coordination. Coordination means group work. Even in a school or college or in any teamwork, we need coordination. That means one person helps another person in order to go for the smooth flow of the work. Helping one another to progress or for smooth functioning means coordination. Now, the topics which will be covered in this chapter are as follows: nerve cell, also called neuron. Second part, parts of nervous system. Third, reflex action. Fourth, endocrine system. And fifth is adolescence. Let's come back to the nerve cell. That is the first part which is to be covered in this chapter. Nerve cell is also known as neuron. Nerve cell is a structural and functional unit of the entire nervous system. All the nerves we have in our body. This is the structural and functional unit of that system. So these are the keywords: structural and functional unit. We will study this topic majorly from the point of view of picture study because it is really important for the exam. So basically, there are three parts in the structure of neuron or the structure of nerve cell. Cell body, which is also known as cyton. Second part is dendrites, and third part is axon. Let me show you the picture of these three parts. This is the cell body, entire cell body. This is axon. This line, this extension is known as axon. These are the dendrites. That is the extension branched of cell body are called dendrites. These are the three parts which we got to know right now. Let's study these three parts in detail, that is about their structure or about their function. So the next part is structure of the cell or the neuron. First part, as I said, cell body or the cyton. This is the central body of neuron. Central body of neuron. And it contains two things: cytoplasm, which is the fluid filled inside this body, and centrally placed nucleus. That is, the nucleus is placed inside it, but where it is placed? Centrally placed. Next part is synapse. What is synapse? It is a keyword. It is a junction between two neurons. Whenever there is a attachment or when two neurons come close to each other, there is a space between them, which is named as synapse. Let's see. Dendrites of one neuron and axon terminal of another neuron. The space between them is synapse. Let's come to the second part, which is dendrite. Dendrite are cytoplasmic extensions. As I told you, the cell body is filled with a fluid, which is a cytoplasm, and the extensions of the cell body are called dendrites. So, when it is an extension of the cell body, it will also be filled with the cytoplasm. So, as the definition says, dendrites are cytoplasmic extensions. What is the role of these dendrites? Receive nerve impulse or messages from another neuron towards the cell body. So their function is they receive messages from another neurons, and where it goes to the cell body. Now let's come to the third part, which is axon. It is single long fiber emerges from the cell body or the neuron. As I told you, the extension of the cell body. The extension of the cell body or the cyton is the axon. It is single in nature. It is a long fiber, emerges from neuron, that is the cell body. End of axon is branched. Every axon is branched and ends with a bulb-like structure called called synaptic, and it contains neurotransmitters. What it contains? It contains neurotransmitters. I'll show you with the diagram. This is it. End of axon. This is axon, as I told you. This is cell body. This is the long single fiber. This is the extension. This yellow part is the axon, and it is, as I said, end of axon is branched. This is branched. All branches are there. This is branched and ends with a bulb-like structure. This is a bulb-like structure. This structure is called bulb-like structure, and it is a synaptic. It contains neurotransmitters. It is very important from the point of view of picture study. They can ask you to name this structure. This is a bulb-like structure called synaptic and contains neurotransmitters. It contains neurotransmitters. Now let's come to myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is a protective fatty covering enveloping long axon. This is the myelin. This purple part is the myelin sheath. This is a protective fatty covering enveloping long axon. It covers the entire axon. So this can also come in case studies. Now let's know the role of myelin sheath. Myelin sheath का role क्या है? Provides insulation to the axon. As we can see कि इस पे पूरा entire covering is there and there is insulation. It covers the axon and transmit nerve impulse away from the body. Transmit nerve impulse away from the body, away from cell body. So let's see the entire structure of nerve cell with the diagram. As I told you, we'll study three things in the structure of neuron or nerve cell: cell body, dendrite, and axon. We have already seen cell body consists of the centrally placed nucleus and the cytoplasm. Dendrites are branched cytoplasmic structure. Now, what is the role of the dendrite? Receive nerve impulse or messages from another neuron towards the cell body. Then let's come to the axon. What is axon? Axon is an extension of cell body. Single long fiber emerging from the cell body. And it is covered by a fatty protective covering which is called myelin sheath. Now every axon ends with a structure. Branched structure, these are bulb-like structure and contains neurotransmitters. Now let's see the types of nerve cells. The types of nerve cells. There are three types of nerve cells: sensory neurons, nerve cells or the neurons, sensory neurons or nerve cells, motor neurons or nerve cells, mixed neurons or nerve cells. Mixed neurons have another name as well, which is association neuron. Now let's study each one by one. Coming to sensory neurons, what is the role of? Mainly important thing about these neurons or the nerve cell is their role. What is their function? What do they do in our body or the nervous system? First thing, sensory neurons carry impulses from sense organs to the spinal cord. This is very important. Carry impulses or the messages from sense organs or organs to the brain or the spinal cord. This is responsible for the action. That means, for instance, we have seen something, that means our eyes, from our eyes, sensory neurons or sensory nerve cells will carry message to the brain or the spinal cord. Then there will be certain reaction. So, sensory neurons are responsible for the action. How? They carry messages or the impulses from the sense organs to brain or spinal cord. Coming to motor neurons. Motor neuron is responsible for the reaction. They carry impulses from the brain or the spinal cord to muscle and glands. To muscle and glands. That means from brain. When sensory neurons send messages from our organs to the brain or the spinal cord, what do the motor neurons do? Motor neurons comes into action and they send the same message to the muscle and glands for the response. Then there is certain response. Let's come to the third part, mixed neurons or the association neurons. Mixed neurons or the association neurons relay impulses between sensory neurons and motor neurons. They interconnect sensory and motor neurons. That means they plays role between sensory neuron and the motor neuron. So we have studied three types of nerve cells or the neurons: sensory, motor, and mixed or the association. Sensory neurons are responsible for the action. They send impulses or carry impulses from the organs to the spinal cord or the brain. Motor neurons carry impulses from the brain or the spinal cord to muscle and glands. And association neurons, as we know, help in the sensory and the motor neurons or interconnect sensory and motor neurons. As I told you, we are going to study this particular topic, neuron or the nerve cell, from the point of view of the picture study. So let's solve one case study or the picture study. This is class 8 book of CMS. There is a picture study given over here. So first part, I hope it is visible to you. First part, they are asking, this is nucleus. Second part is a cytone or the cell body, and it consists of what? Cytoplasm. It consists of cytoplasm. Then the third part, as we know, this purple part, it is a covering sheath, is a covering sheath of the axon, so it is myelin sheath. Fourth part is the extension. It is the extension of the cell body. You know, the single extension of the cell body is axon. So this is axon. Fifth part, as I told you, this can be asked and they have already asked. It is bulb-like structure. This is synaptic bulb. This is a bulb-like structure, synaptic bulb. Now the next question is, what is the junction between two adjacent units referred to as? What is the junction between two adjacent units referred to as? The junction, as I told you, the junction between the two neurons. Let's see from the, they are asking this, what is the junction between two neurons? This is synapse. Synapse is the junction between two adjacent neurons. Now, is there a physical connection between the adjacent units? No, there is no physical. They just come near each other. Then the question arises. They can also ask how the messages are transferred or impulses are given to another neuron. So the answer will be they contain, these bulb-like structure contains neurotransmitters. As I told you, these bulb-like structure contains synaptic contains neurotransmitters. Through this only messages are transferred from one another. Now the next question is, how are nerve impulses transmitted from one unit to the next unit? What's the question? How are nerve impulses transmitted from one unit to the next? Now, at the end of each neuron, the neurotransmitter is released, which sets a new impulse in the dendrite, which sets a new impulse in the dendrite. I hope it's visible, of next neuron. Hence, impulses are transmitted from one unit to the next. Now, these are the certain type of questions which can come. This is the sample case study, and there can be many more questions related to the types of nerve cells, related to the cyton, related to the dendrite, etc. So this they can also ask you to make a structure of the neuron. So these notes are also available for you guys. You can surely DM me on Instagram for the notes, and this will be provided to you in a while. So thank you all for watching this video. If you really like this, do subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you.